Yes. Welcome to It's Erik Nagel. That is me, 866-969-1969, and joined once again by my pal Matt OG.
Matt is fine. Geeks
you Matt
OG
OG
on Twitter, but Matt is fine.
Call you Matt OG.
That works too.
And welcome to the program here.
The other guy, it's just kind of
killed the music a little fast, but let's welcome back Adrian to the show. Hi, Adrian.
Hey, Adrian.
You can turn on.
What's going on, guys?
How are you?
Good.
Adrian interned for us for a while.
Yes.
And then he was gone for a little while.
Yes.
While they do paperwork and everything, and now he's hired to the staff. He
Fantastic.
works for the pretty much for the channel. You're doing a lot of stuff here now, right?
Yeah, a couple different shows.
He does Sam's show. He does this show. He does Opie and Jimmy, and little odds and ends all around the place. So we didn't get to say hi to him last week, so we're saying hi to him this week. Hi, Adrian.
What's going on, Erik?
Thank you for your help here. 866-969-1969 is the number. On today's show, we're going to talk to Alex Borstein.
Nice.
Who is Alex Borstein? In case you are,
How do you not know at this point?
some people don't.
Really?
You don't know.
Lois?
She's Lois on Family Guy.
Right.
She was Miss Swan on Mad TV.
Of course.
But now she has a show on HBO called Getting On. So we're
Nice.
going to talk to her about that. And I want to talk to her about the Family Guy Simpsons crossover
course.
and how they were dealing with the hate they were getting from South Park and some other stuff. We'll get to that later in the program. We have a lot of stuff to give away too, a lot of stuff to talk about.
We always say that.
Yeah, and we never have enough time to do anything that we pretty much have planned. But I digress. Let's start off with the stuff we're giving away.
Sure.
We have a signed Mike Tyson's mystery poster
Nice.
by Mike Tyson.
Well, I would hope that he would be the one that would be signing it.
Well, Norm Macdonald's on the show, too. So
Okay.
it'd be kind of cool if we'd managed to get Norm, but Norm never leaves his house, and he's always tweeting golf. So
It's an interesting man.
next time Norm's around, maybe we'll get him to sign something.
There you go.
But this one's signed by Mike Tyson. We have that to give away. We have some questions in order to do that
Sure.
in a little bit. We have, thanks to our friends at Kid Robot, we
Nice.
have some Treehouse of Horror Simpsons figures to give away to celebrate Halloween. Yes, I know it's the day after, but this was the only time we could do it.
The day after is just as good as, look, I'd rather you
People
give
are
away.
still having Halloween parties on this weekend,
Except
right?
that every store has all that Christmas stuff out already. But let's hold
Yeah.
on to Halloween for a little bit longer.
All right, so we got that to give away. We have, what else do we have? We've got a bunch of movies. We always have tons of movies, and we never get them away. I don't know why people, I guess, don't want it. But they're digital copies, they're regular copies. We've got Neighbors, Tom Cruise Edge of Tomorrow, Godzilla, Transcendence, and thanks to our friends at DreamWorks, if you have kids, this might be right up your alley. We have a bunch of copies of Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
Nice.
Now, for those who are not familiar with that, this was from the 60s cartoon Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Right.
The little offshoot cartoons that they would have within the half hour. And they made a full-length movie. The Peabody was Phil Dunphy. I can't remember his name.
Oh, dude, I don't remember his name either.
Ty Burrell.
There you go. There you
So
go.
he stars as Mr. Peabody. It was actually a really good movie. Steve Colbert's in it as
Right,
well.
right.
So if you want a copy of that, we have
Steve
those.
Colbert.
Steve Colbert.
You're very familiar with
Me
him.
and Steve. I'm
You're
trying to
like
get on his show
BFFs?
when he takes over for Letterman.
Is that what it is?
I'm trying to get in there. So we have that. Halloween is here and it is gone, but I guess some people are still celebrating it this weekend as an excuse to go out and party and get drunk and half naked and whatever.
All good things.
How was your Halloween?
Well, it was trick-or-treating. You know, I have a little guy at home, and, you know, always fun to take him out and get candy. Of course, he wanted a piece of candy at every single house we went to, so by the end of the night, he was in a sugar high that quickly evolved into a sugar coma.
He was dressed as...
He was Batman / Pirate Batman / Pirate Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. It kept on changing.
So anything
depending
that
on
was
the
laying
time.
around the room.
Pretty much. No, he actually had a Batman 66 Adam West costume. But for some reason, he wanted to wear a pirate hat. And at one point in time, he had a Michelangelo hoodie on also. It was very confusing.
But you had a good time. And pretty much that's what Halloween comes down to now. It's either if you have a kid, you're out there for your kid.
Yeah.
Or if you're a young single adult, you go out to party and get drunk and wear next to nothing.
I gotta say though, I saw one of the best Halloween setups / decorations this year. Actually, it was my neighbor a couple houses down. He had this setup where in all of the windows of his house, he had these projected movies, and it was actually like zombies taking over his house, and so like his windows, it looked like there was like zombie killings going on. And then if you tuned your radio to like 106.1 or something, you could actually hear like what was going on in the background. It was the most crazy thing I've seen for Halloween. I know they do stuff like that for Christmas, but I've never seen anything for Halloween.
Big crowd around it?
A decent crowd. Yeah,
nice.
Definitely a decent crowd. How could you not? I heard one little kid couldn't have been more than 4 or 5, and he's like, I ain't going nowhere till I see some zombies. So he was very excited about the zombies.
What kind of kid was this, Matt?
I think he was a Batman also.
Okay, let's go with that. Let's see. Just making a note here.
Just writing stuff down, doing your own thing. It's fine.
Yes. Halloween around my place wasn't that bad. Not as many people as I thought it was going to be. And I've had this house for about 3 years.
Right.
And I thought, moving to the suburbs in a nice community and everything, you'd get a lot of kids for this holiday. Not really.
I noticed, I think Halloween is kind of going by the wayside. Too many parents are afraid. They're doing those like trunk or treats where like a bunch of parents go to a parking lot.
Right.
They open up the back of their cars and like kids go around in the cars, or like they're trick or treating at the mall
the police
or
do
the
that.
zoo.
The police and the fire department. Oh no, police and the some towns have the ambulance exchange.
Yeah.
They do that because it's a safer way for kids to go trick or treating and what have you. But
all the fun is gone.
Yeah, everything's got to be pre-planned and
very
packaged.
sterile.
And no, we're going here. This is where you're doing your. Remember, I loved as a kid going trick or treating on Long Island, but all I remember about Halloween, at least growing up in the Northeast, that Halloween was windy, cold, and always raining.
Right.
Like I can't remember a Halloween where I went out and it was warm and sunny.
Yeah.
It was always miserable, and I think that's what led me to. In my teenage years, like, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't care about candy. I can go buy the damn bag. But you'd go out and cause,
of course, a little bit of a ruckus.
Pranks and shit like that.
Fun stuff.
But, I thought there'd be more kids coming around, and that didn't happen. So what I did is over here, for the people here at Sirius XM, if anybody out down that hallway is listening to this show, which I doubt they are, I think they're playing college football or something. We have these big bowls of candy that I had left over. So anybody that walks by while we're doing whatever, wave them in. I don't care if we don't know who they are. Wave them in. Let's have them take some candy and find out who's here around. I saw Cousin Brucey.
Yeah.
He's around here at this time. He's over, I think he's live now, over at 60s on 6. Oh, our first guy in for candy is Adrian. Hi, Adrian.
And he's raiding the bowl. Good. He can raid that bowl while I eat his Butterfinger right here.
Everyone's just dipping into this thing here.
You put out candy. What do you expect?
Yeah, but we're doing a radio show.
Oh, okay.
You're not supposed to be the one that's eating.
Oh, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. I'll cover for you. But anybody who's walking around here, let's see if we can get. There's a bunch of people in over, and I almost said Sway Studio, but Shade 45. There's a lot of people in there. I don't know what they're doing.
Partying.
Adrian, see if you can find out if there's some good partying going over there.
In Shade?
In Shade.
Okay.
There you go.
I didn't see any bitches, but
you never know.
it's a big sausage.
How about
fest in
hoes?
there right now?
Is that a thing?
I know. If they're hoes,
it's like
if there were hoes in there,
pairing,
they were
right?
dropping low because I didn't see them.
All right, fair enough.
So we'll do that. The Mike Tyson's poster.
Yes.
I want to give this away. I don't want to leave the show before we give that away because that's really kind of a cool thing to have. Mike Tyson. Say what you want about the guy. He's a changed man.
He is.
He's not the guy that he used to be, but he's one of those guys that still everybody. He's like the Hulk Hogan effect. Everybody knows who he is, knows what he's done, and despite his history and everything, people go, "Oh my God, it's Mike Tyson." They give him a hug, they want a photo, they want to talk to the champ.
He's beloved. And then, especially, I kind of think he had a big social turnaround with the Hangover movies.
Right.
Like, he kind of came back out into the public, and people kind of were like, yeah, we can like him now.
Well, I've liked him since his heel and face turn during WrestleMania with Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Right. Well, look, he went through some rough times where, like, as a whole, the public maybe didn't care for him so much. But I think he's turned that around.
So we're going to give that away. I see the phone lines lighting up, so we'll ask some questions in just a moment here. We started the show with People Are Strange by The Doors.
Yes.
We're going to tie that into the sort of announcement, but not really, that Benjamin Cumberbatch is playing Doctor Strange.
The exact quote during the huge Marvel press release the day after was, if it was confirmed, we would have talked about it today.
Right.
Which means it's not confirmed, although the thought is that it's in final negotiations. The ink's not dry, but it's all but done.
So what led to everybody online having a huge uproar that he was doing this?
Well, this is the telephone effect.
Right.
This is what I like to call the telephone effect. So one company, it might have been Variety, put out some sort of announcement or press release that, based on sources, that he was in final negotiations to do it. It got picked up by a bunch of other blogs as it's confirmed, and then from there, everybody just assumes it's confirmed. But clearly, it's not confirmed. I think it's going to happen. It's just not official.
Okay, but what is official is from the Marvel Phase 3 that rolled out.
Right.
That Doctor Strange is November 4th. In the year 2016.
2016, that's right.
They still got time to get the ink dry on this thing here.
Plenty of time.
Now, is it confirmed that Benjamin Cumberbatch is in Star Wars?
No, and I don't think that he is in Star Wars.
I would like to make a bet on that. Because why is he there?
Why is he on the set?
Yeah.
Because he's friends with J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, but that thing is so... Like, J.J. has done such an amazing job of keeping... information sealed.
Not on Star Wars. Not on Episode 7.
No?
Shit has leaked left and right.
Oh, I don't know what I was reading. I thought he was doing a great job.
No.
Oh, all right. Then there goes my theory on that.
So, he might appear.
I'm going to go with the logic that if you're on set, you're in the movie.
Okay.
And if I get a chance to talk to Kevin Smith, I'm going to ask what part he's playing.
Fair enough.
Is he a Jawa?
He's a little tall for a Jawa.
Oh. Is he in the new Cantina band?
Maybe he's in the Cantina band.
Or maybe he's hanging out at there, he's talking to the guy that's sitting next to Boba Fett at the bar.
You never know.
All right.
I don't think Cumberbatch is in it, but you never know. Maybe he is.
Oh, well, we're going to find this out. I do love him as As Sherlock?
As
Sherlock, yeah. I almost said Doctor Who, but I was looking at my notes here. Look, if you're on Twitter, stay off Twitter.
If you're a Doctor Who fan and haven't watched it yet.
Right.
Oh, yeah, it airs
the UK
now,
is going
doesn't it?
nuts, right?
Yeah.
I saw about 2 hours before the show. The UK is going nuts about whatever happened on Doctor Who.
Tonight isn't the season finale,
it's
right?
It's part one of the two-part season finale with the new Doctor, Peter Capaldi.
Right.
I don't know what happened. It airs here in the United States. First airing is 9 p.m. Eastern on BBC America. If you're a fan, you got to stay off Twitter because I don't know what was going on, but I started seeing weird shit, and then I said, I'm done. I can't deal with this.
I don't want to harp on Doctor Who, but I quickly want to say that I'm ready for Jenna Coleman to leave the show.
I think everybody is.
She has become, this is the Amy Pond effect, where by the end I hated Amy Pond and I was ready for her to move on from the character, ready for her to move on from the show.
Right.
I'm ready for Jenna Coleman to move on from the show.
They did a whole 180. Like her storyline from the last season with the 11th Doctor was she was supposed to be filling in these weird holes in his timeline so they could alter it and go in a different direction.
They still haven't explained the mystery.
Right. So... What, the mystery of her?
Yeah, she's the mysterious girl, but we still don't know why.
I think it was pretty much she was the mysterious girl. Well, she was the impossible girl.
Oh, the impossible girl. I'm sorry.
She was there, and as you saw in the end of last season and going into the 50th anniversary movie Day of the Doctor, she was there that she was always with him no matter where he was in his timeline. So she helped direct him in the right direction. She was sort of like a guardian angel.
She didn't always remember it. And then remember, she was a Dalek in the season opener last year.
There was multiple versions of her.
Yeah,
like her timeline was all over the place there.
But don't you think that still needs to be explained further? Why is there multiple versions of her?
Are you getting more candy, Adrian?
I need more scissors.
All right.
Jesus Christmas.
Make sure people are staying on the phone lines there. Yeah, I think she was just there to weave the story in a different direction and fill in some plot holes.
I think it warrants further explanation.
Right? But now in this current season with the new Doctor, she's just a bitch.
She's
very self-centered.
Yes.
And you watch her, she's like, I can't wait for... This is the first time, I think, where they've had a Doctor where they're not letting him be him. No matter what the personality is for that Doctor, they're focusing too much on all the shit she's doing and how he's reacting to her. Like she's the lead on this thing.
Yeah, it's very annoying.
Right.
It's very annoying. Hopefully she only has 3 more episodes, including tonight. So
no,
that's
something
the rumor,
happened.
at least.
People were going nuts. So I'll. When we're done here and I get the chance to go home and watch it, then I'll look at my Twitter pretty much later tonight or tomorrow. So that's what's going on with Doctor Who. Benjamin Cumberbatch, we don't know if he's in Star Wars. I like to think he is, and I think Kevin Smith's in it somewhere as well. I
still don't think it's going to. Doctor Strange, yes, but we'll see.
Mark my words, I'm sure he shows up somewhere.
All right.
What else? Oh, Marvel Phase 3 came out.
Yes.
Was this a reaction to DC rolling out their timeline? Or is this a dick-waving contest saying mine's bigger?
This is a combination. If you remember earlier in the year, Marvel announced dates that they had blocked off, right? Release dates that they had blocked off through 2019 or 2020.
Right.
This was just them formalizing those dates. for those of you who didn't know, they had a pretty big press event Tuesday of this week. Members of the press were invited, as well as I think a handful of fans were invited.
Right.
Apparently, the invites for that only went out about a week ago. As a matter of fact, they went out the day after the Avengers 2 trailer leaked online. So there wasn't a whole lot of notice to this for the press. I think maybe they wanted to make a bigger spectacle than DC's announcement a couple weeks ago, where they just kind of threw out a bunch of titles. I think they wanted to stir things up a bit. Good for them. To anybody who's saying this is too much and blah, that's all nonsense.
Too much? How is it too much?
Exactly.
You're getting everything you want. Even characters that I don't think anyone's going to give a shit about, like Cyborg.
Cyborg is DC. You're looking at a complete timeline of all superhero characters.
You're right. That's
Cyborg
on Warner
is a
Brothers.
DC.
My apologies.
No, that's okay.
My apologies.
Inhumans is the one that you're going to say.
Right. Inhumans is one, and there was the other one I saw that I was like, who gives a fuck? Captain Marvel.
A lot of people care about Captain Marvel. That's a very important release for them.
Why, though?
Because she's a female lead. She's a female
Captain Marvel
superhero.
was also a guy.
Captain Marvel is, I believe, now I know
for the movie it's going to be a female.
Yes,
I think
there have been multiple Captain Marvels, I believe.
Okay, but who cares?
Because
where does it fit into all of this?
Because there's been a lot. First of all, she's kind of she'll kind of fill the void, or she'll help with that cosmic gap that Avengers and Guardians is playing with right now.
Okay.
So the Inhumans, by the way, I think. But it's very important for Marvel to have finally put out a movie led by a female superhero, especially after the announcement only a week or two prior that DC was finally moving forward with the Wonder Woman solo project. Marvel had to make their female solo movie announcement. I think they had it planned for a while. Everybody thought for a long, long time it was either going to be Captain Marvel or Black Widow, and they just confirmed that it was going to be Captain Marvel. That's all. It's a big announcement in that regard. But
where do you think this ties in? Like, where are they going to... Because all their stuff is interwoven.
It all has to tie into Avengers Parts 3 and 4, which is the Infinity Crisis? What are they calling it? Infinity Legacy? I forget. It's Infinity War, Part 1 and 2.
War, 1 and 2.
Yeah. Because, Thanos is...
Part 1 is 2018, Part 2 is the following year. So are they shooting back-to-back on that?
I'm assuming so.
Okay.
I'm assuming so.
Because there's not much turnaround from that. All right, that's good.
So it was a big announcement. They announced 9 new movies, or 9 movies total with that announcement.
Also looking at this timeline here,
sure,
because DC came out first with their thing.
Yep.
Was DC just throwing out random shit, saying, "Look, we're gonna," to say, "Look, we have a bunch of stuff coming down the pipe."
All of the characters...
do they really plan how they're doing this? Because there doesn't seem to be any strategy behind it.
Well, I would argue that they haven't had any strategy for quite some time, but all of the characters that they picked for those projects are all characters that have already been cast in some capacity for this Batman vs. Superman movie. Mm-hmm. Cyborg is in that movie, or the guy that eventually becomes Cyborg is in that movie. Jason Momoa, I believe, is in the movie as Aquaman. Gal Gadot is in it as Wonder Woman. Obviously, Batman and Superman are in there. So they're all in there. They've been laying this groundwork. The only one that I don't know if he's in Batman vs. Superman, I don't think that he is the guy that's playing the Flash, Ezra Miller or whatever it is.
Okay.
He might not make an appearance until the first Justice League movie, but almost everybody else has been laid out.
And now, also, too, the Shield that's on right now.
Yes.
You told me that it's tying into Avengers 3.
I think that it's tying into Avengers 3. The big mystery on Shield right now still is who is Skye's parents. You don't watch it, right? So
I'm behind. Really I'm catching up.
So Skye is like the lead female on the show.
Right.
I think that eventually they're going to reveal that she's an Inhuman, and so that will tie into the greater galactic universe. And of course, they've announced an Inhumans movie.
Let me ask you about Inhumans. Now, I know nothing about Inhumans, but listening to my buddy Chad on his show, Big O and Dukes, he told me that they're utter shit. Like, nobody cares about the Inhumans.
Oh, that's not... Well... I think people in the movie universe don't care because they don't know them. But remember, people in the movie universe also did not know a thing about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
Right? Inhumans are there's some pretty significant characters.
Can you strike that, can you hit that twice with unknowns and an unknown ensemble coming up out of nowhere and being a huge blockbuster like Guardians of the Galaxy? Are people, especially, when is this out? 2018? So 4 years from now, when you're going to be saturated, well, I don't want to say saturated, but when you're going to have a lot to choose from as far as superhero movies from all these companies, 2018, this Inhumans thing coming out, is it going to have the same kind of luck, striking gold like Guardians of the Galaxy did?
Well, 2 things. First of all, I think we're going to get introductions to at least several members of the Inhumans, prior to that movie coming out.
Right.
Kevin Feige, whatever that dude's name is, has already said that we're going to learn more about the Inhumans earlier than we think. So that means they're not waiting for the movie to come out. We're going to get an introduction to those characters. Black Bolt and Medusa are two pretty significant characters in the Marvel Universe, and they're kind of the heads of the Inhumans.
Right.
I don't know. I think that it could be good. Is it a gamble? Yeah, but Guardians was a gamble. I think Ant-Man is a gamble. I think Doctor Strange is a gamble, but Marvel continues to do right. So I have to have faith in them based on their track record.
I got to tell you something. This is interesting that this is happening to me. All these announcements that came out for DC, for Marvel, Sony's even mixed in here, and we'll get into the Sony properties in just a second because you told me something that was, particularly interesting about that. I think I just said interesting.
Yeah,
but it's interesting. I know you can get a lot of this stuff online through the apps, like DC and Marvel and what have you. And I was never a big comic book collector. Right. I would read, but I just didn't own it and didn't hold on to them. But with the apps, it makes it easier. You can buy it, keep it, and move along and catch up on a lot of things. Like I'm going to start reading Civil War.
Nice.
Avengers 2 is pretty much based on that. Is it? No, it's Captain 3.
Captain 3
is based on Civil War. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Loosely
I knew
based
that.
on Civil War.
And so I'm going to catch up on all this stuff. And now it's forced my hand in that I can't just do it on my phone. I mean, I can, but it doesn't. It's hard reading it on your phone.
I do it on my phone, but it's not ideal.
I'm going to have to go buy some kind of tablet.
Just buy a tablet.
I think I'm going to go buy a new iPad. I haven't had an iPad in a while.
Right.
I had the original one, and then when it ran its course, I gave it to my nephew, and I just never bothered to get another tablet. Roland is in the office. He has a hard-on for Samsung, which is, I'm not knocking their stuff. It's great. I just don't know a lot about it.
This is a Samsung tablet.
That is a Samsung
and I
tablet?
have several gigs of comic books on it right now, probably.
Do you like that better than the iPad?
I'm a Samsung guy. I'm a Galaxy S5 guy. I've always been I like the Android operating system, so I'm a Samsung guy.
I'm going to need some advice because I'm going to go tomorrow and look and pick up something because there's so much out there that I need to catch up on, especially reading all these timelines of everything coming out. I'm like, I don't know some of these other things. Like
but I want to
Shazam.
I want to caution you.
I got to find out more about Shazam other than that dumb Superman crossover.
I would not put I would not read too heavily into, like, I would not necessarily say you have to read Civil War in order to appreciate what's going to happen in the movie. It's going to be very different. So you can if you want to, and I would never say don't read comics. But
I want to read all this stuff, and it's got my you got my attention, and now I see the appeal to it. That I need to now go get a tablet so I can read these things.
All my comic books now I do on my tablet. Everything is digital for me now.
If you want in on this or any other conversations that we're having here, 866-969-1969. Let's go to Josh in Vegas. Josh, how you doing, man?
Hey, Eric, what's going on, man?
You want in on this with Marvel and DC?
Yeah, definitely. I think Marvel definitely took the right foot on announcing everything, because if you look at what DC has done, they haven't done anything. I mean, they're remaking everything over and over again, and, the Batman Superman's going to bring a lot of characters together, but they have nothing to go on. I mean, if you look down the road, they're going to be redoing Green Lantern again. So I think Marvel did it as kind of like, here you go, we've already have everything established, and this is what we're bringing out. And it's weird because you have to look at all the backstories and everything ties in, just like everything, you read. All the storylines are going to tie together in some way, shape, or form. I mean, with
for the Marvel universe.
With Marvel, yeah.
Yeah. See, this is the thing I don't understand, because Marvel from the get-go has said, we're going to take our time with this. We're going to plan everything out so that everything ties to the next thing ties to the... It's a whole domino. If Iron Man 1 didn't, become the success that it did, all this stuff probably wouldn't be here.
Absolutely.
Right? So because of that movie, they planned everything. There's teasers for other projects in every single movie. So you can't just make the current project without being, 4 or 5 years ahead and teasing those things as well. But they had all this done already. So what was the point of coming out right after DC did their timeline? Because everyone looked at the DC timeline and said, they're just throwing shit. And Adrian's in here for coffee, for candy. Oh, he's taking the bowl now. No, bring it back in here. Well, he doesn't make a lot of money, so I can't blame him. He slept here. So DC, it didn't matter with DC because they're just throwing shit against the wall to see what sticks. What was the point of Marvel coming out to show, look, we're doing okay, other than to put their big dick on the table and go, all of you can suck it?
Because they already have the back. I think the public already has them. They already have the comic book fans and all the fanboys and everybody is in their pockets because they've had such success with everything. I mean, if you look at Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Guardians of the Galaxy, huge movies, and they were fantastic. Storylines are great. I mean, if you compare, you can't really compare like the DC movies because what do we have to compare? The Batman trilogy, which was terrific, and Nolan did an amazing
But that was
job.
based on, that was Dark Knight, though.
That was based on The Dark Knight, yeah, and I think they're stupid for not bringing him back, but I think it's just, to kind of put it to DC and be like, we already have this already set, we're tying in the TV shows, which I think DC is dumb not to tie in Arrow and Flash, but, I think S.H.I.E.L.D. has been a great season this season so far, and
Right.
Oh, Adrian Pilecki.
She's a bit attractive.
A bit.
And you're definitely right about Sky. She's definitely, I think her backstory is definitely inhuman.
Right.
Yep.
Because I read another article, that they injected the serum into Coulson and everybody else, into the other characters. So.
All right, we're going a little too deep, sir. No, I don't blame you, Josh, but a lot of people aren't going to know what the hell we're talking about. I'm trying to keep it somewhat on the surface here just because the movie timelines that came out made regular news. Like, you saw it on CNN and Fox and stuff like that. So
I mean, it definitely, all the storylines definitely converge because, like, Ultron itself, there's like 12 versions of Ultron, and in that line, Stark has away with it. So they're definitely going off, more of the ultimate side of everything and bringing in, Whedon brings in everything and all those obscure things. So it definitely all, in some way, ties it together. And I think Marvel has everything good for them.
Marvel's doing a good job. We understand. Josh, thank you for calling in. Let's give him something here.
Sure.
Do you want to, let's see, we got some movies and stuff. You want any of that, sir?
Yeah.
All right, let's give you a copy. Do you have Godzilla? You want Godzilla?
Sure.
All right. We'll put you on hold. Adrian, line 5. Josh is getting a copy of Godzilla there. Yeah, it went a little bit long in the tooth, but what he was saying is pretty much...
There's truth.
There's truth to some of this stuff.
Absolutely.
Mike Tyson poster. I want to give this away before we run out of time here because we have Alex Borstein coming in about 10 minutes.
You've got like 8 people.
I know. They just want the poster, but because I tweeted out, hey, if you want this poster with the hashtag call in.
So you got a question or something?
No, I got a question here. Right? So a lot of these random people, they're going to call in. Let's see if they know something here. Who's been on longest? Let's go to Tim in Philly. Tim, how are you?
Good. What's up, E-Rock?
Hey, man. You want this Mike Tyson poster?
Would love it.
Have you watched Mike Tyson Mysteries?
I have not.
Oh, boo.
Oh.
You're supposed to support our boy here.
I know. I work at nights and it's been rough, so I have a DVR. I haven't watched it yet.
Okay. Did you hear the Tyson interview that Opie and Jim did?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question here. If you get it, you get the Tyson poster, all right?
All right.
All right. So when Lenny Marcus was telling his story about meeting Mike Tyson back in the 80s, when he talked to Mike told him that it would be a certain price in order to get his autograph. How much was he going to charge Lenny for that autograph?
It's going to cost him $2.
That is correct. Tim in Philly on line 2. You get the Mike Tyson mystery poster signed by the great Mike Tyson.
Congratulations,
Awesome,
Tim.
E-Rock. Thank you, buddy.
No problem, sir. I'll put you on hold there. I was hoping he didn't get it because then I was going to go into punch-out questions. And I knew nobody would get those, but good for him. He works nights. He's a regular guy.
Sure, you feel bad for him. I
Hook him up a little bit there.
You work nights. We're here.
I know, but this is not a real job. That guy probably, he's doing something manly where he's ripped and then goes and drinks beers. And
wow.
And then, when he gets home, he just wants to laugh, so he listens to the Todd Show in the morning.
Oh.
Let's see. Marvel Phase 3 we did. Oh, Terminator Genesis. Let's talk about that real quick.
Do we have to?
Let's talk about the fact that I don't like the way they spelled Genesis.
No, well, it's silly.
It is. So it's probably so they could trademark it or something. But they could trademark regular Genesis.
They didn't want to confuse with the band. That's what it is.
Or having anybody figure out what their project is. It's spelled J-E...
J-E-N.
It should have been J. It's G-E-N-I-S-Y-S.
Correct.
Which is dumb. But Terminator Genesis is coming out in 2015, I think I said, right? What is this about? All I know, it's 30 years later after after Terminator 2.
Yeah, but it's retconning most of the timeline. And Sarah Connor is really young. She's being played by Emilia Clarke. Schwarzenegger is in it. as the Terminator again. But the real reason you wanted to talk about it, let's be honest, is
Matt
that Matt Smith is in it.
If you don't know who Matt Smith is, because it's a very common, boring name,
sure.
Matt Smith is the 11th,
He's
or
the
was
11th Doctor.
the 11th Doctor
Right.
in Doctor
Fish sticks
Who.
and custard.
Right. And this was interesting because I thought his other project that he was working on was going to come to the United States. Do you know what he was doing?
I don't remember what it was called, but I remember it's the one he actually shaved his head for, right? Wasn't
No,
it?
that was the movie that he shot in Detroit.
Oh, okay,
he was whatever the London version of Broadway is.
Oh,
is
yeah,
it
yeah,
Piccadilly
yeah.
Circus or something down in there where they do all the theater?
Yeah.
That's probably wrong. I apologize
Yeah, I don't
to
think
any
it's Piccadilly
international
Circus, but-
listeners, but whatever their version of Broadway is, he was on Broadway or just off Broadway doing American Psycho.
Right.
And he was playing Bateman. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. If it did well, it was going to come to the United States.
And he was going to continue in the role?
I thought he was.
Yeah.
I mean, this was like a year or so ago, and I was excited that if it came to New York, I would love to see, one, American
course.
Psycho on Broadway, but two, if it was starring Matt Smith, no bonus.
Yeah, right.
But I guess that's not happening.
You could stalk the stage door
or
afterwards.
he's doing this, and then it'll come in the summertime or something.
Yeah, I mean,
like
look, this filmed already. Obviously, it's coming out next year.
Right.
So I think it's just
Still
a matter of
have time.
timing. You
But
know?
let's talk about what this show is. It's 30 years after, but they're changing the timeline again.
Yeah, somehow they're changing. I don't even fully know myself. All I know is there's a bit of controversy because no one is happy about the fact that they're retconning the timeline. But I don't know. It's hard for me to get excited about anything Terminator related at this point in time.
Come in. You want candy?
Yes, I do.
Hi.
I saw your sign on the wall.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Adrian took the bowl of candy for himself in the other room.
Adrian, where is it?
We're talking to Lauren from Cousin Brucey's show.
right. Hello.
She's
Hey,
walking
how
in
are
the
you guys?
hallway. I was like, come in, have candy. And then Adrian just hugged the
There's
whole
a
bowl
huge
for himself.
sign on the wall that says "Candy, come in," and I find out that Adrian's hogging it. What the hell?
It's shitty candy.
Come on now.
It's not shitty candy.
What type of candy is it?
There were Butterfingers, Twizzlers. There was some good stuff in there.
Are these fun size or are these full size
These
candy
are
bars?
fun size.
Well, yeah, and bite size, as a matter of fact, too.
Yeah, bite
He
size.
must not be
Baby
from one of
Ruth,
those neighborhoods
Jolly
that give out
Ranchers.
full size.
No.
Baby Ruth stinks.
Chicken.
He's trying to keep the riffraff away.
I don't make millionaire money. I'm not giving away Heath bars. Well, if you want some candy, they're
All
over in there.
right.
How's Cousin Brucey doing?
Oh, we're doing great. Yeah.
Any guests tonight?
No guests, but we're taking all requests until midnight. So if anybody wants to call and say, "Hey, we're on Sixies on
Don't
6."
promote that while my show's on. I just was
We're on
asking
the
who we
same
had on.
platform.
They can call in about 25 minutes.
Yeah,
We know-
at 9 o'clock when it's Eric Nagel's off.
That's right.
You can turn this channel off and switch it to the 6 and hear a legend.
You know that our show and Cousin Brucey have the same crossover audience.
I'm just trying to cross promote.
We're talking
company people.
Terminator. They're going to want to go, hear the Stones.
Denny would be very happy with you.
Right, just trying to cross promote on the channel. All right, guys.
Well, thank you for coming in. You try to fight some of that
I'm
candy
gonna
off
go
from
shake
Adrian.
down Adrian for it right now.
Kick his
Go
ass
ship him.
while you're at it.
Have a good show, guys.
Terminator Genesis.
Terminator
so-
Genesis. I don't care.
Thank you for saying that.
I don't
because people love Terminator. I know they look back at it fondly. And remember when we were talking about? Oh, you may not have. Were you here when we talked about movies we never saw?
Yes, I was.
Okay. On top of my list was the original Terminator.
Right.
I still haven't seen it. Or did I see it? I don't remember if I saw it now. But I saw Terminator 2 when it came out. Everybody was all pumped about it, and because of the Guns N' Roses tie-in and everything, there was just a lot going on with it. So all that happened, and then that third one came out.
Right, which I didn't entirely hate.
Right.
I'm not going to lie.
And then there was the TV show.
Which I loved and got canceled before they had a chance to wrap up
But
the story.
I tried so hard, and being a sci-fi fan, I can't care about Terminator. I really can't. I'll give this a try, but I can't care about it. I don't know what the attraction is to
I
it.
like it's a post-apocalyptic story, man versus machine. I mean, it's a good story.
Right.
I think the first two, even three, I think were pretty good. The TV show was good. But the one that came out last year, or whatever, several years ago with Christian Bale, right? Wasn't Christian Bale in it? He was the lead.
That was the That was the other one.
And then now this one, I don't care anymore. Maybe it's because James Cameron, I don't think James Cameron is involved anymore. So maybe that's part of the reason.
I think it was called Terminator with a Vengeance. That was the one. We're running out of time here. Let's go to Brian in Cleveland. Brian, what do you got before we get to Alex Borstein?
Oh, I just want to go back to the Marvel stuff you guys were talking about before. Two things. A, real quick, do you think one movie's enough to cover the Civil War storyline in Captain America 3? I'm afraid they're going to rush it.
Well, let me take my answer back. Yes, if they had more of the characters that they needed to do this thing. Because isn't Spider-Man involved in the Civil War?
He is, but The movie's going to be less about secret identities, more about registration. I think Civil War, I think Cap 3 is going to set up events that will then echo throughout the rest of the Marvel Universe for several years. So I think they do have enough time to set it up the way they need to set it up, and then it'll echo and have lasting effects on some of the other franchises going forward.
And then I had a question about Doctor Strange.
Sure.
So I think part of the reason why Guardians of the Galaxy did so well is that the charismatic role that Chris Pratt played.
Sure.
I mean, I saw the movie 3 times in the theater just because of that character. They keep saying that Benedict Cumberbatch is going to play Doctor Strange, and I just can't get excited for that. It just doesn't seem like...
He's perfect for that role. He's
perfect for the role in terms of the character in the comics, but in terms of movies, I mean, I just keep going back to Star Trek in the Darkness. And it's just, I just could not get into that movie. I couldn't get into the character he played. And frankly, I just didn't think, I thought that was kind of a weak point for the movie.
Forget Star Trek. Pretend like it didn't happen. Go on. Watch him in Sherlock, and then tell me he's not perfect for Doctor Strange. He's perfect for that role. If you look at his work in Sherlock, you have to forget Star Trek. That was what it was.
I'm not going to. Yeah, I totally agree. He's probably great for the role. He's a great actor. He's very talented. But in terms of charisma, in terms of I just don't know if he has the comedic beats that certain actors they've gotten to play.
I don't think he needs comedic beats as Doctor Strange, though.
And that's part of the success, I think, because then they're going to start treading into DC territory.
I see what he's saying, and they may expect it just because it's been Benjamin Cumberbatch that it's going to have those comedic beats.
Benedict, not Benjamin.
What? Oh,
you even wrote Benjamin on the sheet.
I'm not having an off night here tonight, but you know who I'm talking about, Sherlock.
Yeah, look, you need to go out for beers with Steve Colbert when you're done.
Yes.
And maybe
My
he'll
buddy
learn
Steve.
you. Your buddy Steve.
I am. All right. Anything else, Brian? We got to get going.
Thank you, Brian.
No, you're good. Thanks.
Hang on. I'm going to give you a copy of Edge of Tomorrow. That was a good movie with Tom Cruise. I'll give you a copy of that, all right?
Thank you.
All right, I'll put you on hold. Let's get his information in just a minute on line 8 here. We're going to have to take a break, and then when we come back, it's going to be with Alex Borstein talking about her new show, or second season of the show, sorry, getting on HBO here. A couple of things I want to run through real quick before we leave. I want to say congratulations to a friend of mine who used to work on the Opie and Anthony show, and you can hear him on Liquid Metal. He works with Faction and a couple other rock projects that the company has here. If you remember Butcha, who used to be on our show,
sure.
Sean Winkler, just got married yesterday.
Congratulations.
So I want to give a shout out to him and his new wife there. And if you want to do so as well, his Twitter is What's in the Box, but the box is spelt with a 0.
Oh, fancy.
So give him a shout out, say congratulations with that. He's a good dude. Also, I want to thank Rich Broski, if you know who he is. Do you know? Have you met Rich? No?
I don't believe I've met Rich.
He used to work with us at K-Rock. He does the production for this show.
Okay.
And he was the voice of K-Rock for so many years and what have you. Does a lot of that stuff. RichBroski.com, if you want to check him out. Does a lot of creative services and what have you.
Lovely.
Next week on the show, Ken Marino from The State. He was also on Children's Hospital, Party Down.
Right.
If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. It's an amazing show. You got to watch that. He'll be in next week, and we'll also talk to the cast of Big Hero 6.
Nice.
Thanks to Disney for hooking that up.
Can't wait to see that.
And also, we're going to be taking your questions. Anything you want to know? This show, the channel, anything, whatever, life in general. erockcomment@gmail.com. Flood those in by Tuesday or Wednesday if you could.
Sure.
And we'll answer those on the next week's show. I think that's about it. We still have all this stuff. I'll figure out the Simpsons thing. Maybe I'll give them away on Twitter. Thank you to Kid Robot for giving us that. Do you have any plugs?
Just GeeksFOG on Twitter, and check out Big Kev's Geek Stuff, the podcast that I'm on every week if you want some more of this geeky comic book toy talk.
Okay.
There you go.
I apologize if we've gone into too much depth with this.
Someone on hold said we
Nick
went a little too nerdy.
Here, but
sorry, Nick.
Sorry, sometimes it goes that way.
It was a big announcement this week.
It was a big announcement. I'm not apologizing. Screw you, Nick.
Yeah, fuck off.
Go listen to
something
Cousin Brucey.
There you go.
He'll play the Stones for you.
Exactly.
Or that Peppermint Twist, whoever did that.
The Peppermint Twist.
The Peppermint Twist. All right, so E-Rock Radio on Twitter and Instagram. I'll give away the Simpsons stuff a little bit later tonight if you want any of those Kid Robot pieces.
Yep.
We'll go to break. When we come back, Alex Borstein next. I'd like to welcome to the show Alex Borstein.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
I am good. I've been a big fan of yours for many, many years.
Oh, don't be nervous.
Through various projects of yours, not just Family Guy. but Mad TV, and now you're on Getting It On HBO.
Getting On. Getting It On might be a porno. Getting On.
You know what? I don't know why I said that, because I did all my research. I even have it here on my sheet. It says Getting It On.
At me and I'm so fine.
Probably.
You thought Getting It On.
It is.
Yeah, I know.
Let's talk about Getting On HBO here. What can you tell the audience about this show that they don't already know?
Getting On is my favorite thing that I have ever done, I think, thus far in my career. It is the most challenging work and the most fun. It's me, Laurie Metcalf, Niecy Nash, Mel Rodriguez. We are doctors and nurses working in a downtrodden geriatric wing of a hospital. And it's an all-female geriatric wing. And you probably immediately think, oh, that sounds like an awful downer. But it's somehow a very funny, it's a dark comedy. It's really funny. Also tragic, also very real, very raw. It's shot in a raw style.
Where is it actually shot? Is it on a soundstage, or did they actually?
Los Angeles.
No, I mean, is it on a soundstage, or do they use an actual building for it?
It's an old hospital, an abandoned hospital.
Nice.
So that has a lot of creepy ghosts, I'm sure, that kind of add to the...
Seems to be the way they do it with a lot of these hospital and medical shows, whether it's comedy or serious. Like Scrubs was using an abandoned hospital.
Yes.
ER, and then the other one, Chicago Hope, also did an abandoned hospital. And it seems all the medical shows use old facilities or facilities that are being refurbished by payment of the TV companies to give it that authenticity and make it feel like this is a really serious effort that they're putting out here.
It does. I think it helps it feel really real. And timing-wise, we've got this set that's a hospital. It's all lit. It's all ready to go. There's no downtime between a scene. Other shows, if you're on a lot or on a set, go to your trailer for 10 minutes. We're going to relight the next scene, move to the next set, the show is not like that. You get there at 6 a.m, get minimal hair and makeup, throw your uniform on, and you are on deck the entire day for 13 hours. It's like a real nurse's shift, and you don't stop. There's no downtime. There's no relighting. There's no second team where someone stands in for you while they're lighting so you can rest in your trailer.
So when you're not shooting and they're doing changes and what have you, your break room and your timeout stuff is done in areas where actual patients used to be.
Yes, you don't leave the set. But you're rarely allowed to pee. We have 3 days to shoot an episode.
They have a bathroom there, right?
The bathroom, there's not a working bathroom in the actual hospital.
So you have to actually leave the hospital to a trailer?
Yes. So they don't like to let us leave. So, but we have 3 days to shoot an episode.
The area you're shooting in the hospital there, what used to be there?
I'm not exactly sure what our wing was, but there are patient rooms.
Right.
But they have come in, the set designers have come in and reimagined the whole thing. So I'm not exactly sure what it looks like. One of our scenes, season 1, we shot in a room. There's the end of the scene where we go and we have to move the ladies out of the lung room. They're all on lung machines because the floor has to be decontaminated because of possible contamination. So we're moving all of these ladies out. In the actual room that they were being kept in, we think it might have been a morgue initially because it was windowless, breathless. Man. It felt, the minute you walked in, your chest felt heavy.
I was just going to say, what do you feel when you're there?
I'm not one of these ghosts people, but it certainly felt like death had been in the room. It was a heavy feeling.
So do you just feel it when you're not shooting, when you're not paying attention to what's going on, when you have some time to yourself while other things are happening? Is that when you start feeling it, or do you actually feel it while you're in the midst of a scene, like, oh my God, this is feeling really weird?
Just when we go down into the room, when we would go down into that room, it was always like, I don't want to go in there alone. And just the second you got in there, it felt, I take bigger breaths and felt like it was heavy on your chest.
This is a great show and a great cast that you're working with. You're no stranger to doing TV. You've consistently doing stuff for 20 years. I'm not trying to age you, but I'm just saying.
No, it's true. Really, 97 was my big break with Mad TV.
Right.
That was kind of the first, on camera gig I'd ever done. So yeah, since
so what was the feeling getting this role as compared to getting things in the past for Mad TV, for Family Guy?
This always felt monumental. I mean, from the second that I got an email saying, we have an audition for you, and I clicked on what the British version was. This is a show that originated in the UK. I immediately was like, the wind was knocked out of me. This is so special and so amazing. I want to be a part of this. So it feels very different. And it's the first time I'm playing. I mean, Miss Swan was similarly very three-dimensional and felt very real to me. That was kind of a character with a wig where you're a little hidden. This is the first time I feel like it's me kind of exposed playing a very fully realized three-dimensional character.
Are you getting people recognizing you now from this show, or is it still a little too early to tell?
Yeah, I am getting, a lot of times when you're stopped on the street, it's kind of a game you play. When someone goes, "Oh my God, are you the girl?" You can guess. You know that they're going to be like, "Are you the girl from Saturday Night Live?" And you correct them. "No, you mean Mad TV." Right, Mad TV. Or
you're still getting Miss Swan to this day.
Oh, yes. You can kind of guess. You know who's going to say Mad TV. You know who's going to say Family Guy. And you kind of, now it's getting to be a little bit of a surprise that all of a sudden people are, I think they're going to say Family Guy.
Who do you get more?
It's really a mishmash. And Gilmore Girls. I did a part on Gilmore Girls, and people rabid Gilmore Girls fans.
Yeah.
And I always know, you see kind of a 20-something-year-old girl heading towards me, and it's someone who grew up, whose pivotal years were watching Gilmore Girls.
But see, that makes sense. It would be a little bit weirder if, a 20-something-year-old guy came up and said, "I watched you on Gilmore Girls."
But I am starting to get a lot of young guys that are getting on, so it's kind of cool. I don't know how that's happening, but
the staff that you're working with here, cast, sorry, not staff, on the show here, Lori I can never get her name right. Is it Metcalf? Right. I will always know her as Aunt Jackie from Roseanne, but she's been in so many projects as smaller roles. Most recently, Sheldon's mom on Big Bang Theory.
Yep.
But you see her pop up in miniseries, little bit parts in movies, and she's another person that never stops working.
She's done so much theater here too in New York, and she's phenomenal. She's like working with a jazz musician. She is. You never know which way she's going to go. You have no idea what note she's going to hit, and it's like a roller coaster just acting opposite her.
Do you notice that she still gets recognized as for Roseanne whenever she goes out?
Absolutely.
Do you guys compete to see who gets recognized more?
No, we do not. I mean, we're extremely low key, her and I. We both are kind of shorts, flip-flop, t-shirt wearing people. Niecy, if we go out, the three of us go out together, Niecy is done up. She's got,
she's a lot of energy too.
Beautiful hair. She's got lashes and done, and she is Niecy now.
Right.
But, Lori and I can easily kind of blend into a Naugahyde booth. But
Niecy kind of commands your attention no matter where she is.
She does.
When you got this role, one of the few outlets that pretty much champions the television industry right now is working with HBO.
Mm-hmm.
So getting this job on this show, getting the chance where it's going to air on HBO, and you're going to get a whole new audience that's not just relying on basic cable or broadcast television. So now you're getting the HBO crowd who's going to follow you from Game of Thrones. What is that feeling like? This is like a next tier in your career.
It absolutely felt like a mistake. At the beginning, I was kind of like, any minute they're going to ask to see my cool card and realize I don't belong. It's a completely different level. The people, first of all, you're working with people who have hired the showrunners because they want their art. They have purchased their art. They have purchased the painting, and they now are just letting them decide where to hang it. So they're very hands off. Mark Olson and Will Sheffer, our showrunners and writers, they get to create exactly what they want to create. And that's the smartest thing that HBO and a lot of these, FX, a lot of these cable outlets do, is that they hire people they trust and then they let them create something beautiful. And good or bad, HBO lives with the result.
Right.
And they give things a really good fair shot. They're usually a 2-season at least kind of place. And I think that's just an incredible model. It's such a great, they're not beholden to advertisers the same way, so they can afford to do that.
Let me put something into your head here, if it hasn't already been placed into you. There is a real serious chance here that you're going to get nominated for all kinds of awards.
Wow.
Because just being on HBO seems to get, and not that any of the shows are bad or low in quality, but these academies seem to have a love for HBO programming, and they're done very well, and there's a lot of care put into these things, but they all get nominated, and all the roles get nominated every year for the Screen Actors Guild, for all that stuff. So there's a good chance you're going to get a lot of nominations for the lifespan of the show.
Maybe not. I always say, I don't need an Emmy. We just need some viewers.
Right.
We just we'll take 3 million viewers over a statue any day. But I realize that the Emmys help you get into that place. It helps publicize. It helps do it. I really think it's not just the Academy loves HBO. I think it's because of what I just talked about before. HBO is allowing different things on the air and things that spark interest and are special and unique. So I think that's why they get a lot of attention.
Have you noticed more that with the way everything's changing as far as where people are getting their entertainment from, are you noticing more people are getting on or Family Guy because they watch it online? Are they saying, oh, I just saw the thing on Hulu, or I have HBO Go on my phone? They're not really even sitting there and watching the television anymore because they can get it in so many other places.
Family Guy, I will say Family Guy still has a huge appointment television fan
It's on my
base.
DVR, right?
But there's a lot of, high schoolers and college people that like to make a thing of Sunday nights, that they get together and have beers in the dorm room and they all watch Family Guy. So that still has kind of a fun, traditional Sunday night base. But I know that getting on, so much of the life of it and the viewership and the steam and the momentum that's being built is from HBO Go, from people streaming it and binging it.
Are you surprised with Family Guy getting such massive ratings with just the reruns that TBS was doing?
I'm not surprised. I feel like there's a group of 18 to 20 writers that sit in a room and work. You would not believe the amount of work that goes into a single gag, one joke, one TV gag on that show is hours and hours and hours of work and reworking and retinkering and re-recording. Each episode takes 9 months to make. So I feel like the quality is put in there. It's kind of like you make a beautiful article of clothing. It's going to last 60 years. I kind of think we've made a nice, sturdy piece of television.
Recently, and this is one of my favorite things that you guys have done to date, you did the big crossover with The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Family Guy seems to get a bad rap when compared to South Park and The Simpsons and what have you. And it was pulled off amazingly well by both parties. Obvious shots at each other's shows, turning around and looking themselves in the mirror and insulting themselves.
Yeah.
It was great to see that that you guys got along and worked together. But before that, how were you guys dealing with the fact that so many people were taking shots at you guys? Like South Park had that episode. The Simpsons for a while wasn't really too happy that you guys were there. Like you being as part of the voice cast, how did you guys deal with that? You did.
We loved it. I mean, our show, we take shots at everybody.
Right.
Equal opportunity offender. You can't be that animal and then be upset when that other animal approach. And that's amazing that South Park took
the whole episode to
talk about Family Guys as fans of South Park. That's huge. I mean, we all felt pretty damn honored, to be honest, and that The Simpsons even knew we were there. I mean, we felt the same thing when I was on Mad TV. You always felt like, does SNL even know we exist? Like, do they even know we're on the air? There was never any mention or slam of us or parody of us or anything, and that hurts more
when they just ignore you, that you don't
even think you're
not even competition to them. Yeah.
So we've always loved it, and it's this cool postmodern thing too for a television show to recognize another television show within the television show. So I think it's kind of a neat kind of inside layered thing to do.
Well, it's good to see that everybody has thick skin there, especially Seth.
Absolutely.
So he was through the roof when all these people were just like, they just did a whole episode about us.
The only thing that ever was a true issue between Simpsons and Family Guy was when we first started, the fear of there are X amount of brilliant storyboard artists and animation directors. And that was competitive of are you going to poach some of our guys? Are we going to lose some of our animation directors or our storyboard people or our artists? That's, I think, where the only real issue ever was with the two teams or whatever.
You do a lot of singing. You see a lot of it in Family Guy, but you're a very accomplished singer.
Oh, wow.
And what really put it in my head that I was like, wow, this is not just something you do, that you really are invested in it. It's when you did the live episode, or the live-ish episode of Family Guy, where you and Seth were performing the songs and what have you, and you do the town hall stuff where you do the scripts live. Will we see any of that translate to getting on? Will there be an episode where you're gonna just belt out a tune for no reason? Or?
So far, I have not sung on Getting On, but I do in season 2. You see her play a musical instrument. I don't want to give that away.
Okay.
But you will see me play a musical instrument that I had to, try to learn how to play for the show. So we'll see how that goes.
The show is Getting On HBO. Returns November 9th. At 10:30 p.m., which is a great slot.
November 9th, they're going to start the season 2, but something cool that they're doing a week before on November 1st, they are doing a marathon of the first season. And they're only a half an hour each and they're 6. So you can watch it in 3 hours. You can bang it out.
I think HBO started to recognize the whole binge watching thing that was going on with Netflix, that when they started doing for other shows that were returning, here's your marathon weekend, set your DVR.
Yeah.
And a lot of other networks too, not just HBO, are now doing that for, like, American Horror Story on FX just came back, and they reran all of the last season. Even though each season is different, they reran on the weekend before
to get you in the mood.
to get you like, oh my God, I need to seek out this show.
It's television foreplay.
Right.
Yes.
Getting on HBO returns November 9th, 10:30 p.m. Alex Bornstein on Twitter.
I am on Twitter, just at Alex Bornstein.
Do you do Instagram too, Facebook, or is that too much?
I don't do Instagram or Facebook. Just the Twitter.
Keep it simple.
It's enough time out of my day.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate everything, and good luck with this show. I'm telling you, you're going to be ripe for an Emmy.
Well, in your mouth, baby.
Thank you.
Thanks.